Okay, seventh grade. What we are going to work on this next couple weeks is actually going to be something that we did with every other 6 weeks class. Um, it's just going to be a little bit tricky to get it started. Hopefully, you'll be able to follow along. What you are going to need for this: 2 sheets of typing paper. Okay, so scrounge around, find 2 sheets of typing paper so that you can do this project. If you have if you cannot find any typing paper, find a couple sheets of worksheets that are blank on one side. I guess if that came to it, okay. Your best bet is to try to find a couple sheets of typing paper. So what you're going to start with: 2 sheets of typing paper, and we are going to take 2 pieces of Scotch tape. Okay. Now, what you'll notice that I'm doing is I'm just putting a little bit of Scotch tape at the top and a little bit of the Scotch tape at the bottom. Okay, that should hold and that shouldn't be a problem, but you want to have a Vista type of setup for your drawing. Okay, so that's why you have the tape at the top and the bottom. It's going to be easier than using masking tape because masking tape is very bumpy, whereas Scotch tape can lay flat and you're not going to have as much of problems. Not going to be perfect. Again, nothing about this 6 weeks is going to be perfect. So as long as we approach it with that mindset, we'll be good. So if you can tell on the overhead here, I have Scotch tape and Scotch tape. It should be good. I'm going to then flip it over. Okay, so Scotch tape is now on the bottom, and I now have 2 sheets of typing paper set out in a Vista screen, very horizontal, and this is what I'm going to draw my cityscape on. Okay, so usually what we do is we start this process, and as we do it step by step, students start to realize, like, oh, this is going to turn into a cityscape. No, I'm just going to cut to the chase. We're going to make a cityscape of this. Okay, what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from the top with my ruler. Yes, you're going to have to find a ruler somewhere. From the top down. So from the top down, it's going to be 8.5 because it's normal typing paper. It's going to be 8.5 by 11. Okay, so from the top down, and what I would suggest is that you watch this. Maybe one time watch it through, and then watch it and do the step-by-step process as I'm doing it. Okay, because a lot of times students get distracted and students get confused. You may actually have to watch this twice to be able to get all the questions answered. Okay, so here we go. From the top down is 8.5. You're going to go from the top down 4 inches. Okay, so that's going to be 4 inches from the top. You're going to put a tiny little dot, something like that. Okay, then we are going to do the same thing. From the top down, we are going to go 6.5 inches. Okay, so 6, halfway between 7, 6.5. Okay, you're going to go the next one from the top down. You're going to go 7.5. Okay, tiny little little dash there that you're going to be able to work with, and then from the top down, it's going to be 7 3/4. Okay, so that's 7, that's 8. There's your half mark, halfway, and then halfway between the half and the 8 would be that 3/4. Okay, so right now I have a piece of paper that has a 4, a 6.5, a 7.5, and an 8.5. So on the left side now, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm going to go 4, 6.5, 7.5, and 7 3/4. Again, from the top down to 4, from the top down to 6.5, from the top down to 7.5, from the top down to 7 3/4. I now have exact copies on both sides of what I'm going to be basically tracing. Connect the dots from these 2 areas. I'm going to create a line that's going to go all the way across. If you have a yardstick, this is a perfect time to use it. Okay, so from here across. Okay, and you'll notice as I'm drawing these, as I'm putting these lines down, they may be difficult to see on the overhead here, but it is crucial that you don't put it on too dark. Okay, so from there across is light. Now, if I put it on too dark, it's going to be very difficult to erase it. Okay? So by setting that up with lines that I can just go back in and erase, very simple, you're going to be erasing a lot of things here. Okay, so if something is on there very heavy, you're going to have a hard time getting rid of it. So very light lines, that's what you're looking for. Okay, so I'm going to continue these lines going all the way across. Okay, so I'm going to take them all the way to the edge. So this line is going to go all the way to the edge, and this line is going to go all the way to the edge. We're going to do the same thing over here. And after we do this, we're pretty close to having everything set up to where you're going to be able to build a cityscape. It's going to be pretty impressive. Okay, I say all that as you're watching this going, this is pretty boring, Mr. Robinson. Well, trust me, it's going to be pretty cool. That goes to there, and I guess I'll do my last two over here. This guy and this guy. Now, hopefully on the overhead you can see that I have 4 lines, 1, 2, 3, and 4, going all the way across my paper. I'm ready to go. Here we go. In the middle of the paper, right here, I'm going to put an X, okay? So middle of the paper, 4 inches down, that right there is going to be what this line right here is going to be known as the horizon line, okay? So where the sky meets the land, that's the horizon line, okay? So everything below the horizon line is going to be considered land. Everything above is going to be sky. Okay? Smack dab in the center of the paper, okay, is going to be a 1 point. Okay, you can either make it a dot or you can make it an X, but that's going to be your one vanishing point. Okay, so what we are going to be drawing is we're going to be drawing linear perspective. Now, linear perspective is all about giving the idea on a two-dimensional surface, so this paper is two-dimensional surface, giving the idea the feel of 3 dimensions, okay? So linear perspective is about showing depth, okay? So with 1 point perspective, 1 point linear perspective, you have one vanishing point, okay? So visualize, if you will, you're standing on railroad tracks, you have a rail on the left and a rail on the right, and they're going toward the horizon line. So that railroad track is heading off to the horizon line. What happens to those 2 rails that are, that you're standing on? They are going and angling up and kind of doing this. Okay, so looking at the camera, I guess it would kind of give like a triangular effect. Okay, that is 1 point linear perspective. Okay, and that is what we are going to be showing in this. Okay, so here we go. I have one vanishing point. I have a horizon line. And I have a baseline. Now, you don't have to write these in. I'm just writing them in so that you understand. This is the baseline. It's going to be the bottom of all of my buildings. Okay? And then I have 2 lines that are relatively close together, and we are going to make those look a lot better here in a second. I'm going to come over from the edge of the paper. I'm going to go over 2 inches, 2 more inches, 2 more inches, and 2 more inches. So basically, I'm just going to put tiny little lines in between those 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. So there's going to be 4 of them there. We're going to do the same thing over on this side. We're going to go 2, 4, 6, and 8. So basically, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. Okay? Everything in between here, I'm going to erase. It's not important. Okay? I now have the setup for a pretty good looking city. Okay? So here we go. I've got a point right here, and I've got a point right there. Those 2 points are going to go back to my vanishing point. It's going to look something like this. So this point and this point are going to go back to the vanishing point, like that. And the bottom one is also going to go to the vanishing point. So those 2 points go back to the vanishing point. Okay, I can erase that little over. Okay, I've got a point here and I've got a point there. These 2 points are going to go to the vanishing point. So those are my first drawings, and I'm going to get rid of that line because anything in between there, you'll see, is going to become the road. Okay. Last thing I'm going to start with in that starting process will be this point. That top point is going to go to the vanishing point. That. Okay. Then I'm going to do the same thing. This point right here is going to go to the vanishing point. It will look something like that. Okay. This point right there is going to go to the vanishing point, but this one gets a little tricky. Ready? You see how my ruler is going to the vanishing point? It's coming from that point. It's going to go up, and it is not going to go past that baseline. Okay? Remember, this is the baseline. It is not going to go past that baseline. I'm going to do the same thing with this point. So this point is going to go to the vanishing point. This to the vanishing point. And what you'll hopefully start to notice is this is the sidewalk. Okay? So this right here is the sidewalk. Okay? This is the curb strip that you trip over. This is the road. Okay? This gives the illusion of depth in or height, I guess, on the curb strip, and this will also help putting a vertical line right there. Okay, so I might as well put a vertical line right there. Okay, so hopefully you're getting that idea that this is creating that illusion of depth, and this is where you should be able to stop. So, like if you're looking to stop after a day, this would be a good place to stop. Okay, break away and be like, okay, good, I finally have this, because then you can come back to this and you now have the cityscape ready to go. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to have you do this part. This will take, I'm going to give you 2 days to do this. Okay, 2 days, one to watch the video to fully understand it, and then start to put it into practice. Okay, so you'll have 2 days. So that'll be on Monday. Okay, so today, that's Monday, today, Monday, Tuesday. On Wednesday, come back, and I'm going to show you what you're going to do with this piece of paper, these two sheets of paper, and how we are going to make this look like a city. Okay, but you need to have this portion done before we can go any farther. Okay, so let's take that point up to here. And again, if you have to go back and watch it for a second time to get this, do it. Because if this is not correct, your cityscape is going to be off. Okay? So hopefully you're getting that this is 4 inches, 6.5 inches, 7.5, and 7 3/4. That these segments, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches. Okay? From this side, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, 2 inches, and then you'll have a big gap in between there. From this point and this point, you will take those to the vanishing point, take those to the vanishing point. From this point and this point, you are going to take those back to the vanishing point. Okay, so like I said, on Wednesday, I will show you what the next step is. So hope everybody's doing well, and I'll see you soon.